one and all present here. I, Muskan Grover, welcome you all to a session on sexual harassment of women at workplace. The issue of sexual harassment of women at workplace is a significant concern that undermines women's dignity and equality. The Honorable Supreme Court in Aureliano Fernandez versus State of Goa and others emphasized the necessity of widespread awareness of legal remedies to address this social evil. The Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Prevention, Prohibition and Redressal Act 2013 serves as a critical legal framework for ensuring a safe and equitable work environment. The Vishakha Guidelines were a set of guidelines created by the Supreme Court of India to ensure the safety of women in the workplace. The guidelines were a landmark step in addressing sexual harassment in the workplace and were the basis for the Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Prevention, Prohibition and Redressal Act 2013. Recognizing the need to sensitize individuals and institutions, the National Legal Services Authority, NALSA, and District Legal Services Authority, DLSA, have initiated this awareness program as part of their commitment to legal literacy and empowerment. The primary aim of this session is to create awareness among professionals and stakeholders about the legal framework that is the key provision of the Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Prevention, Prohibition and Redressal Act 2013, the redressal mechanism, that is understanding the roles and responsibilities of Internal Complaints Committee, employers and employees, the judicial precedents, that is the insights from landmark cases, particularly Aureliano Fernandez versus State of Goa and others on addressing workplace harassment. Preventive measures such as encouraging institutions to foster a culture of respect, equality and safety. Before we begin with today's program, I would like to introduce you all to Vidyadhar International Business School. The seed in the form of Rohini Educational Society, sown to provide quality education in 1983, has flourished towards streets and stems of education far and wide. Through its concerted efforts, the Society has created several institutions of known standards and repute for imparting quality education, right from the kindergarten stage to master level under the brand name Geetharathan. Geetharathan International Business School was established in the year 2004. It is a self-financing ISO 9001-2008, 14001 2015 and 50001 2018 certified and NAAC accredited institution. It is affiliated to Guru Gobind Singh Indraprastha University, Delhi and approved by All India Council for Technical Education, Ministry of Education, Government of India for technical courses and Bar Council of India for law course. The institute conducts various courses, namely MBA, BBA General, both first and second shift, BBA LLB Integrated, BA LLB Integrated. This year, we added another feather to our cap by acquiring two new courses, namely MBA Integrated and LLM. GIBS has been graded A by the National Assessment and Accreditation Council in the third cycle. GIBS has been rated A+ by the State Fee Regulatory Committee, a fee committee of Government of NCT of Delhi. GIBS has been rated highest grading A by the Joint Inspection Committee of Government of NCT of Delhi and Guru Gobind Singh Indraprastha University since 2013 till date. GIBS has been rated grade A by the Academic Audit Cell of Guru Gobind Singh Indraprastha University since 2011 till date. As one of National Capital's leading business schools, GIBS brings together people, cultures and ideas from around the corner to change lives and to transform organization. The institute is an ideal setting for learning a diverse community knit together by its physical environment as well as its commitment to the highest standards of excellence, integrity, free expression and inquiry. The campus boasts state-of-the-art infrastructure, facilities and resources. On behalf of Geeta International Business School, I now take this opportunity to welcome and introduce our esteemed guest for today's session, Advocate Ms. Supreet Bimra. Ma'am has done her graduation and LLB from Chandigarh, Punjab University. Ma'am started practicing law in 2013 under the tutelage and guidance of esteemed law firms such as SG Solicitors and AK Law Officers. Ma'am has extensive practice experience in the civil law, commercial law, arbitration and mediation, matrimonial disputes, accidental cases, medical cases, debt recovery matters and consumer matters. Ma'am has been independently practicing since 2021 and has been associated with the DLSA since the last 2 years. She has successfully delivered lectures on POCSO, domestic violence, and have had the privilege to share her knowledge with young children and learned staff of the schools and colleges. With DLSA, Ma'am has educated sex workers, guiding them about their rights and duties. I now request Director Sir to welcome our guest with a sapling.
Yes. I welcome you, ma'am, on behalf of the
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Now I would request Advocate Supreet Bimra ma'am to start with the session. Over to you, ma'am.
I'm representing Delhi Legal Services Authority, which is commonly known as DLSA. And today we are here discussing a very important law of our nation, which is which is commonly known as POSH. POSH is the Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace, which is Prevention, Prohibition and Redressal Act 2013. Now there is a question, first of all a very important question which comes to all our minds, that when there is a strong law in the IPC, which is in the Indian Penal Code, and other laws of our country, then what was the need of POSH? What was a requirement that a separate law has to be incorporated, wherein we are told that specific harassments, sexual harassments, which are taking place at the workplace, why are those incorporated? Now, as ma'am has just discussed, that under the Vishakha guidelines, there was a directions by the Honorable Supreme Court of India that yes, a certain guidelines have to be followed by the institutions and certain guidelines have to be followed by the workplaces, wherein a set of rules has to be followed, wherein redressal committees have been made. And the purpose of the redressal committees are that such redressal committees are exclusively going to address to such issues which are pertaining to sexual offences against women. So the first thing which we understand here, that this law is particularly for women, unfortunately. So yes, unlike POCSO, which is a gender-neutral law, POSH is not a gender-neutral law. So what we have to understand here, that POSH is actually women-based law. Now when we come to POSH being a women-based law, this simply means that yes, there is no redressal for men here, and the victims are only women in this category. Now, we would really like to start with that what was actually the purpose of this act. So, reading it, an act to provide protection against sexual harassment of women at workplace and further prevention and redressal of complaints of sexual harassment and for the matters conceived therewith or incidental thereto. Whereas, sexual harassment results in violation of the fundamental rights of a woman to equality under Articles 14 and 15 of the Constitution of India and her right to life to live with dignity under Article 21 of the Constitution and right to practice any profession or to carry on any occupation, trade, and business, which includes a right to a safe environment free of sexual harassment. Now here's cities, metropolitan cities. So we might not understand that why there is a need for POSH, because maybe there are not such many incidents in cities, but we have to understand that such a law is being practiced throughout the country. And there are many cities, there are many small talukas, there are many small places where there is still gender discrimination, sexual discrimination, and there is a wide disparity between men and women. So when it comes to such wide disparity and discrimination, that is where the POSH comes into place. And the purpose of me standing today here and educating you with POSH is only one purpose, and that is to make us aware, to make us learn that what is POSH, why is it so important for us when we already have laws. Being a practicing lawyer in Honorable Supreme Court of India, High Court of Delhi and various other district courts, the difficulty which I have come across is that people lack awareness. So irrespective of what we think we know, the law is far beyond from that. There is a wide disparity. What is actually the law and what do we know? A common man is aware of the law only with respect to what the media teaches it, and nobody really has the time to look at the bare acts. This in the screen is the bare act. Bare act is the coded law in black and white, which shows you that yes, this is the law, this is where it is written, and this is what it is. So I'm reading from the first page. And whereas the protection against sexual harassment and the right to work with dignity are university recognized human rights by international convention and instruments such as Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, which has been ratified on the 25th June 1993 by the Government of India. And whereas it is expedient to make provisions for giving effect and such conventions for protection of women against sexual harassment at workplace, be it enacted by the Parliament and the 64th year of the Republic of India as follows. Now the purpose of reading here with you the bare act is singular because today I'm having a privilege to deal with professors who are already well versed with what is the coded law. I'm assuming so, because at least people know that what is POSH. But what actually is POSH? What is the coded law, which is in black and white? So we are here to discuss the intricacies of the law. So first of all, we would like to go that, let us go directly. Definitions here is that aggrieved, first of all an aggrieved women. Now aggrieved women, again, it is not a gender neutral law. So this means that here in this law, the aggrieved person can only be a woman. So we have to understand this, that the aggrieved person here cannot be a male, and the accused can either be a male or be a female. So any person who is accused is not only confined to being a male. So any female teacher, any female officer, any female professor, any female in the working who is defined as an employer under this act comes under the ambit of POSH. Now who is the aggrieved woman? Aggrieved woman, please, we have to understand this very important to understand actually the POSH. So we have to understand that who are actually the women which can be taken under POSH. Aggrieved women means in relation to a workplace, a woman of any age, whether employed or not, who alleges to have been subjected to any act of sexual harassment by the respondent. Now, for the common parlance, for you to understand, the respondent is the accused person. So the person who complains about an act is the victim, and the person against whom such a complaint has been made is the respondent. So to understand this, now this itself, the first line itself, is of great importance because it opens a wide ambit when it comes to a person who is employed or not. So a person who is taking remuneration, now the remuneration does not only needs to be in terms of money, it can be even in terms of kind. Like suppose a person is working at your household and you're just giving her her food and means to live, or you're just giving her an accommodation. That such a person, such a lady is also an aggrieved woman. So we have to understand that aggrieved woman is not only a woman to whom you are paying salary, is not only the person who is living in that house, who is paying her the remuneration. It is everyone who is residing in that house. So you have to understand that if she goes against a complaint under POSH with respect to any particular member of the family, you cannot take a defense कि भाई हमने तो इनको पैसे नहीं दिए. I am the one who is employing her and he or she is not the person employing her. No. For that understanding, the aggrieved woman is employee of the entire family. Now, what we read here is that aggrieved woman is relation to a workplace, a woman of any age, whether employed or not. Now, that person might not have come to your place as an employee. That person might have attended, that woman might have attended your household or your premises or your office for a particular job. Or she is employed through an agent. Any workplace, as per the POSH rules, is required to formulate a committee, which is an internal committee. An internal committee where the grievances of such women who are working at that place will be heard. Now such grievances will be heard by such a committee which is called the ICC. Now what is ICC? ICC is the Internal Complaints Committee. Now the normal procedure is that a woman who is aggrieved by sexual harassment at the workplace is first of all required to address her complaint in writing. So we have to understand first thing that yes, such a complaint has to be given to the ICC in writing by such an aggrieved woman. Second is that such a complaint has to be given within 3 months. So it is not the case that where an incident has happened and after one year of such an incident, the woman decides to. I'm so sorry. That after 1 year of such an incident, such woman decides to file a complaint. That is not allowed. So a complaint has to be filed within 3 months. Now in case where the offence is committed, like it is a continuous offence, it means that where an offence is committed today, and hypothetically that offence is continuing in regularly 15 days a month or after every week or such a thing. So the 3 months will be computed from the last event, the last time such an offence was committed. So 3 months from that, a written complaint has to be given to the Internal Complaints Committee. The Internal Complaint Committee is then going to take cognizance of this matter and is going to first of all try to reconcile between the two parties. Now when it comes to reconciliation means the Internal Complaint Committee will make both the people sit, the aggrieved as well as the respondent, sit and make them talk and try to arrive at a conciliation, try to arrive at a settlement. If such settlement is not arrived at, then such a complaint will be forwarded to the local, which is called the LCC, Local Complaints Committees. Now, what is the difference between the ICC and the LCC? The difference between the ICC and the LCC is that ICC is the internal complaints committee of any organization. So in case it is a corporate office, a police office, a police station, a college, a school, or anything, any organization, and even with respect to any company, that is also applied where ICC has to be formed. Now, in case that is failed, that is where it goes to the LCC, and LCC is the local complaints committee, wherein an employee of the government is part of that committee. And in case even no settlement is arrived at the LCC, then a police complaint is filed, then an FIR is filed against the victim in the police station. So we have to understand that these are very serious offences when it comes to sexual harassment of women at workplace. Under the Vishakha guidelines, of course, because there are certain offences. Now, sexual harassment भी हमें समझने की यहाँ पर ज़रूरत है. The sexual harassment is not merely actually touching a female. No. Sexual harassment constitutes any gesture which is made against a female, which is intended with a malintention to outrage her modesty. Okay, let me try another example. Even if a pornographic video is shown to a woman, even if such signs are shown to a woman, which is intended specifically to outrage her modesty, which is intended specifically to demean her, to objectify her, to insult her, that is sexual harassment. Touching is another aspect, वो तो बहुत दूर की बात है. Even if doing this, even if a male or a female, again, let's make it very clear. It doesn't mean कि सिर्फ यहाँ पर males हैं. अगर कोई female भी किसी दूसरी female पर ऐसी चीज करती है, उन पर पॉश लागू होता है. Pause is applicable. And let me tell you that this actually happens. There are a lot of cases in many courts where females are the respondents, where females are the accused. So, now we have to understand, there might be a question coming to your mind that बहुत cases में तो ये होता है that organization may appear a fellow professor, a fellow teacher, a fellow colleague is, उन पर हम पॉश लगा रहे हैं. What happens when the head of the institution commits such an offence? A common sense question will be कि जो ICC है, which is the Internal Complaints Committee, वो तो obviously managed होगी by the head of the institution, right? So what happens in such cases? In such cases, ICC has nothing to do. In such cases, the LCC comes into place, which is the local committee, complaints committee. So the redressal here has to be done by the local complaints committee and not the ICC. Because ICC, it is assumed that ICC will be in hand in glove with the head of the institute. So when a local complaints committee is taking care of such a complaint, in that committee, person from a legal background, person from the district government is going to form a committee, and person from the staff or any person who is one of the colleagues of the accused person is there. Because they actually know. In such cases, it is seen that the female who is making a complaint is comfortable while making a complaint, and she is comfortable to show what has actually happened and how everything has transpired. So the purpose of this is this. Now in case it is found that yes, the head of the company, the head of the institution is found to be, yes, that is guilty, that yes, such person is guilty, then such a person, then reconciliation will be done between the two parties, and in case the settlement is not arrived at, In that case, the police, such a complaint will be registered as an FIR to the police. Now, many of you might have this question that why do we have to go through all of this and directly go to the police? कि हम directly थाने जाते हैं ना, FIR करवाते हैं. तो उसका फायदा क्या है? Why do we have to go through this channel? इसका फायदा ये है, the purpose of this act is that the aggrieved women is actually heard of. आप police station में जाएंगे, आप FIR करवाएंगे, the police already is burdened with a lot of issues, and they might not take it. The people who have to deal with crime, the people who have to deal with murders, extortion, kidnappings, आप खुद सोचिए, would they be very much interested in sexual harassment cases? For them, they are the petty cases. And it is for you that yes, it is a crime against, like, those are the big crimes, of course. They have to deal with the terrorism, they have to deal with whatnot. But because the teacher or the professor or any employee of the company, they should not go unheard. And because they will go unheard, that doesn't mean कि उनकी protection नहीं होगी. In order to protect them in such a situation, such an act has come into place. And again, there's a saying that, you know, with great power comes great responsibility. So it even applies to Bosch. A law is made to protect women in this case, but that does not give her a power to use it against men or anyone. Because even in this case, like POCSO, like any other case, frivolous जहाँ पर litigation होती है, especially in this case, अगर यहाँ पर भी it is found that the accused person is not guilty, then in that case litigation will go against you. हो सकता है कि आपको इस case में सिर्फ compensation देकर छोड़ दिया जाए if you have falsely accused someone, but rest assured कि जो सामने वाला इंसान है, the accused person है, उसकी तरफ से there will be a series of litigation to start with defamation. Because such an allegation of Bosch or POCSO, it is a great deal. It is a great deal. It is actually a mark on someone's character. And if such an allegation is made against such person, it ensues a list of litigation. And it is serious. So every woman has to understand this, that before we are actually making such allegations against any man, any person, be it your colleague, be it any, sure that yes, the onus is always upon you. You have to understand this. Unlike POCSO में क्या होता है, onus बच्चे पर नहीं होता. बच्चे को बस ये बताना होता है कि जो मेरे साथ है गलत हरकत की गई है. But this is not the case here. The onus is upon the aggrieved women here to show us that yes, actually an incident has taken place with me. And actually, I have been subjected to such harassment. Now let's move forward. And for this act, we have to understand what is an employee. So the employee means a person employed at a workplace for any person on regular, temporary, ad hoc or daily wages basis, either directly or through an agent, including a contractor, with or without the knowledge of the principal employer, whether for remuneration or not, or working on voluntary basis or otherwise. Whether the terms of employment are expressed or implied and includes a co-worker, a contract worker, probationer, trainee, apprentice, or called by any other such name. So for your understanding, you have to understand what is an employee. Employee हम कहते किसको हैं? It is not only a person who is directly employed by us. If a person is working for me, if I am the employer, if a person is working for me through an agent, I have engaged X to do my work. Now X doesn't do the work directly for me. X further employs A, B, C, D, E, F. So for them, I am the employer. अब daily wages में, this is a classic example. Daily wages में, you know, my agent might want कि ठीक है, उन्होंने 10. He has got to 10 sort of people to come and work for me. There is 11th person who is coming without his knowledge, without the knowledge of the agent. that person is coming and working for me. And if I commit such a crime of sexual harassment against her, in that case, even then, even it is without the knowledge of the agent, even then I am the employer. So इसका जो ambit है बहुत wide है. Again, see, why are we understanding? Why are we talking about all this in the first place? This might come as a question कि मैम क्यों बता रही है ये सब? Because these are the points. These are actually the points जिनको misuse किया जाता है. So ये आपको समझना है कि हम किस में cover हो सकते हैं. अगर कल को हमारे साथ ऐसी कोई चीज हो रही है, who is a person जिसको जो हमारे employee कि कैन उसमें आता है ambit में आता है, employer के ambit में आता है. Because I am pretty sure that each one of us who is sitting here is employee of some person and employer of other person. We have employed 10 number of people for our daily chores. So for Bosch, for the purposes of Bosch, we are employers. So it is our responsibility to ensure their safety as well, even if you are a woman. Even if you are a male, female, anyone for that matter of fact. Now let's come to who is an employer? अब employer की definition क्या है? Now if someone comes, ये especially households में, so there are a lot of cases where a female will come, साहब ने मेरे साथ बदतमीजी की है, मैडम ने मुझे ऐसा बोला है, गलत बोला है. So we have to understand how employer की definition में हम follow भी करते हैं या नहीं? So employer is anyone in relation to any department, organization, undertaking, establishment, enterprise, institution, office, branch or unit to the appropriate government or local authority. The head of that department, organization, undertaking, establishment, enterprise, institution, office, branch or unit of such other officer as the appropriate government or the local authority, as the case may be, made by order specified in this behalf. In any workplace not covered in subsection 1, any person responsible for the management, supervision and control of that workplace. So let us talk about when we talk about this office, this institution, this college. So we have to understand that everyone who is employed here is not only the one कि there is a head of the institution. Yes, he's employed for all of you. But then, for people who are working under your supervision, now there might be a head of the department, right? Head of the department के लिए जो भी उनके नीचे काम कर रहे हैं, any number of employees who are working under such person, who is the head of the department but who is also answerable to someone else, even that falls in the wash. उस category के लिए भी you are an employer. Next is in relation to the workplace, in relation to dwelling place or house, a person or a household who employs or benefits from the employment of domestic worker, irrespective of the number, time period or type of such worker employed, or the nature of the employment or activities performed by the domestic worker. International committee means internal, like I said, internal complaints committee constituted under section 4, and LC is the local complaints committee constituted with the number of cases under section 6. Now, when we come to subclause N tells us what is sexual harassment. Now, all this while we have been listening कि sexual harassment के लिए Bosch बना है, लेकिन actually sexual harassment की definition क्या है? So we have to understand one thing. When it comes to law, it is not a loosely worded game, not at all. यहाँ पर every word has an importance. Every word will be taken into consideration when you are acting in law. You cannot say कि oh this is loosely एक हमने expression use कर लिया which can be used against us. No, everything is codified, and when we say codified, it is written in black and white. So sexual harassment includes any or more of the following unwelcome acts and behavior, whether directly or implication, namely. So the starting itself shows that yes, such an act is done expressly against that person or there is an implication. Now, implication simply means that yes, we are not doing it. So one might take a defense, because these are the defenses which are taken in the court of law. That yes, no, I was not doing it directly. हमने तो सिर्फ ये उनको इशारा किया, या हमने सिर्फ imply किया, हम anything which is said, which can be construed also in such a way, is sexual harassment. Physical contact and advances. This is the most common which is being done unfortunately in the offices. A casual hug and such kind of environment, a casual hug or maybe a pat on the back. Even a pat on the back, and if the lady is offended by it, that will be construed as a sexual harassment. Second, a demand or request for sexual favors, making sexual colored remarks, showing pornography, or any other unwelcome physical, verbal or non-verbal conduct of sexual nature. Now we are women, we understand how a man is approaching us. So sometimes these are very express things, making sexually colored remark or showing pornography. These are the express things. We all are aware of that, and we are very much mature to understand this. But implication में क्या है? Implication means that any such conversation which such a man is having with us and which shows that he is interested in having sexually involved with us or sexual favors, and in such case sexual favors also with respect to promotions, that is also covered in the POSH. So mere implication को भी हम उस चीज को हम sexual harassment मानेंगे. Now again, while we are discussing all of this, women might be feeling कि okay, there's a lot of ambit, हम तो किसी पे भी POSH लगा सकते हैं चलते. Unfortunately, this is true. Unfortunately, this is true. That is, we again and again we say that with great power comes great responsibility. Because a person you might be hugging every day, now that person is vigilant of POSH, is not giving you a hug. Or maybe he is giving you a hug tomorrow, any of your colleagues, and you say, oh, I'll put POSH on you. It happens. Unfortunately, it does. That is what we teach, in fact, teachers in schools. That yes, teachers have this tendency, this motherly feeling, to hug small girls and small boys. Ye hamara bachcha hai and all that. You don't know when that child will stand up and say कि आपने मुझे sexually abuse किया है. And unfortunately, in those cases, now as I hear from sir that all children hear, in that case the internal committee has actually the powers to summon that accused, and in case he doesn't come with the assistance of the police, he can be arrested. It is equally as avoiding summons. As court summons. जैसे कोर्ट समन्स को कोई इग्नोर नहीं कर सकता, ऐसे ही इंटरनल कमेटी या लोकल कमेटी को कोई इग्नोर नहीं कर सकता. So if in case a complaint is made against you, it is mandated that you have to appear there. In case you don't, now the next question is कि अगर नहीं है, उस केस में आपको proclaimed offender माना जाता है. And proclaimed offender जिसको हम आम भाषा में जिसको हम भगोड़ा कहते हैं, that is worse than the POSH allegations. Now, the inquiry into the complaint. Subject to the provisions of Section 10, the internal committee or the local committee, as the case may be, shall, where the respondent is an employee, proceed to make inquiry into the complaint in accordance with the provisions of the services rules applicable to the worker. The local committee shall, prima facie case exists, forward the complaint to the police within a period of 7 days for registering a case under Section 509 of the IPC and any other relevant provisions of the code. Now, inquiry के time पे ये पता लगता है that this is not only a case of sexual harassment. This person has actually tried to commit an offence graver than what is there, than what has been told. क्योंकि inquiry के time पे there might be a lot of investigation होती है, then there might be a lot of things which has come to light. And even otherwise, inquiry के बाद, within 7 days, it is a mandate under the POSH Act that it has to be forwarded to the police officer, to the police station. That yes, under 509 of the IPC, that yes, inquiry has been conducted and yes, this person is found to be guilty as per the inquiry. Provided that with aggrieved women informs the internal committee or the local committee as the case may be, but any term or condition of the settlement arrived at under subsection 2 of section 10 has not been complied with by the respondent, the internal committee or the local committee shall proceed to make an inquiry into the complaint as the case may be, forward the complaint to the police, provided further that where both the parties are employees, the parties shall, during the course of the inquiry, be given an opportunity of being heard, and a copy of the findings shall be made available to both the parties, enabling them to make representations against the findings of the committee. अब यहाँ पर there is a chance for the aggrieved person. Now this is not a one-sided case. We have to understand this. यहाँ पर ये नहीं है कि किसी के against आप लोगों ने allegations लगा दी किसी women ने and he will be hanged. No. Equal opportunity will be given in the first instance at the reconciliation, second instance at the inquiry, third instance because it might be a finding that yes, there were several complaints made by this one particular woman against a whole lot of the faculty, but which has been turned out to be untrue in the past. So such character will be taken into account during the inquiry. And likewise for the accused person. अगर किसी भी accused person के character में ऐसी allegations in the past आई हुई हैं और वो recorded है, that will be taken into. There are a lot of circumstantial evidences. So it is not a one-sided, inquiry जहाँ पर a person is held guilty. No. Equal opportunity is given to the accused to be heard. Next is, notwithstanding anything contained in section 509, the court may, when the respondent is convicted of the offence, order payment of such sums as it may consider appropriate to the aggrieved person by the respondent, having regard to the provisions under section 15. For the purposes of making such committee has the power to summon or impose attendance of such a person before it, requiring the discovery and production of documents, any other matter which may be prescribed. The inquiry under subsection 1 shall be completed within a period of 90 days. Now again, starting एक step जो हम पहले miss कर गए थे, and that's very important. Another purpose of POSH is like POCSO, that yes, there has to be speedy trials. ये नहीं है कि किसी ने POSH का allegations लगा दिया और वो courts की तरह सालों लटका हुआ है. No. It is time bound. And in case it is not time bound, suppose 30 days, 90 days तो मैम आपने बोल दिया, अगर 90 days में नहीं हुआ तो क्या होगा? In those cases, action will be taken against such committee as well by the courts of law. And they have to give in writing against, they have to respond to a show cause notice that what were the reasons that such an inquiry was not completed within a time frame. So what we understand is that 30 days, first of all, the aggrieved woman has to make the complaint in writing. 30 days के अंदर inquiry होनी चाहिए. And in case 30 days में inquiry होती है, then within 7 days, and if the person is found to be guilty, then within 7 days. See, the जो committees हैं, they don't have the power to give punishments. वो reconcile कर सकते हैं, reconcile कर सकती हैं. Punishments नहीं दे सकती. Punishments code of law ही दे सकता है. Punishments आप क्या दे सकते हो? ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा that yes, some kind of a imposition is imposed on such a accused. But you are not the courts. You have certain powers of the courts when it comes to the production of the documents, when it comes to require attendance of a person, require attendance of the accused person, but not beyond that. You cannot say, okay, that you have committed such a crime and under the powers instituted given to me by the IPC. No, nothing doing. Your powers with respect to the committee's powers with respect to the court are only the civil powers, which is with respect to the inquiry and investigation. Nothing beyond that. So 3 months plus 3 months and then 7 days. Within 7 days, once the inquiry is completed, it has to be forwarded to the police station. And action during pendency of the inquiry. During the pendency of the inquiry in writing, requests may be made by the aggrieved women. The internal committee or the local committee, as the case may be, recommend to the employer to transfer the aggrieved women or the respondent to any other workplace. Now the woman might say that, this person, I am so scared of him that yes, he is going to tamper with evidence and he is going to influence me in such a way. So please, aap us case mein, you have to give it in writing that you please transfer this person elsewhere. Second is grant leave to the aggrieved women for a period of 3 months. That during this entire period, I need to be excused. I don't want to come and work here because this is very traumatizing for me. Third is grant such other leave as aggrieved women may be prescribed. The leave granted to the aggrieved women under this section shall be made in addition to the leave would be otherwise entitled. Now this leave, agar suppose कीजिए किसी leave आप कहते भी हैं, now the head of the department says that okay, you can take 3 months of leave. Now these 3 months of leave cannot be computed within the leaves which are mandated as per the service rules of the organization. If the service rules of the organization says that every year the employees of this institution will be given, suppose hypothetically 54 days leave. So these 3 months ka jo leave hai, that will not be counted in that 54 days of leave. That is in addition to those. Action during pendency of an inquiry. During the pendency of an inquiry or the written request made by the aggrieved women, the internal committee or the local committee, as the case may be, transfer the aggrieved women, grant leave to the aggrieved women for a period of 3 months, and grant any other leave, as we've already discussed. Now, inquiry report. On the completion of the inquiry report under the standard internal committee or the local committee, as the case may be, shall provide a report of the findings to the employer, as the case may be, the district officer, within a period of 10 days from the date of the completion of the inquiry, and the same is made available to the aggrieved, to the concerned persons. Where the committee finds where the committee arrives at the conclusion that the allegation against the respondent has not been proved, it shall recommend to the employer and the district that no action is required to be taken. Now, as we just told, there may be cases where it is found that the person is
able to the armed forces.
Armed forces, sir, armed forces के लिए always are difficult है. Because armed forces, the laws are actually, they are not the laws which are governed by the as the civilian laws. No, armed forces के अपने laws हैं, and let me tell you, they are worse than this. I mean, once armed forces में तो फिर सब सीधा है ना कि वो तो बिल्कुल उनको आर्मी से निकाल दिया जाता है. And other than that, in certain cases, once a person is tried under the armed forces, उसके बाद उसको civilian law के अंदर भी try किया जाता है. There are many cases like that. That is a tougher situation. And that armed forces के cases में ये है that that remark left on the character is more derogatory for a person, especially a person for the armed forces, than it is for the civilians. Any other question? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Now, I just want to know, ma'am, how does POSH help in addressing the indirect forms of harassment that are often overlooked? For example, a small child is being sexually harassed. So, what about this?
What is the age of the child in your proposition?
Let's say a child is hardly 10 years old.
Okay.
Is not aware about 8 years old child, 10 years old child, doesn't know what is sexual harassment. But the child is still being harassed. The child cannot speak to anybody, maybe doesn't know what is going on with the child. So in this, how is POSH implemented?
POSH is not applicable. POCSO is applicable. POCSO is worse. In POSH, the onus is upon you. When I say you, I mean the victim. The victim has to show that, all of the certain things have happened with me. That is sexual harassment. POCSO is worse. The child only has to say, मेरे साथ गलत हुआ है. And the onus is upon you, the victim, the accused. You have to show to the court, मैंने ये नहीं किया है. POCSO is worse. POCSO में तो मैम ये है, the child in such a case, like in your proposition, the child is just 10 years old, and if it is found sexual harassment, again, okay, POCSO में let me give a slight overview. POCSO में there are three kinds of offences which are basically there: sexual harassment, sexual assault, and sexual assault by a person who is in power. Sexual assault is the issue. The person is not able to speak. कि मेरे साथ क्या हुआ है? Then until and unless the person, aggrieved person, speaks to someone, talks to someone, no one can help you. Those are the things, that is why the awareness is made in the first instance, that yes, you need to speak up. That yes, there might be n number of females sitting in this very, maybe this very room that might feel that yes, now they are recalling that yes, such an incident might have taken place with them. But क्या होता है कि we don't understand that yes, this is also crime. Like in POCSO we say, children don't know. You're hugging them, even if you're a child, you're hugging a child, and someone is coddling the breast. The child does not know. For them it is like, ठीक है, जैसे मम्मा hug करते हैं, हम it is the same way. But that is where the education comes in. You have to educate the children that no one is allowed to touch you. It is neither your brother and sister. Your father is also not allowed to touch you at such in these places. And unfortunately, yes, there are a lot of incidents where the family is involved. So we see it on a daily basis, and yes, that is where education and such drives when it comes to this is required to be done. Any other questions?
Dr. Ryan, in the corporates, there were very surprisable cases. I think I was taking a guest lecture in Hyundai Industries. Those are manufacturing these autos, 4-wheelers. So there was a very strange case that the HR people approached me. Actually, I am a clinical practitioner of psychiatrism. So they approached me and they asked me one very important, very significant questions. Sir, in our industry, in our showroom, there are 10-floor showroom, and most of the female staff is taking care, up and down with the help of the lift. There is only one lift man, a graduate boy, and they rushed one day that the liftman is trying to make them a continuous look. He is not communicating anything. He is never trying to be close to them, but he is gazing. So HR was over the committee inquiry, and the boy told, sir, ma'am, I am not trying to use any alphabet, any words. Never try to be close to them, never try to invite them. So it was a very surprisable case, and they were asking, sir, psychologically, what we can make them a best remedy. So I suggested only the one thing, that if he is not trying to be close, he is never trying to use any abusive language, he is not trying to invite some female to his office and somewhere else, so better to be purchase a black goggles for him. I think I was right at that time. So today even all are working with each other. So sometimes this surprisable cases are making the things more confusing. So as per your interpretation, as per your suggestion, what was that, and how we can deal this kind of cases in future?
Unfortunately, this falls under POSH. This falls under POSH. Because if a male is, even a female, any person, let me stick to that, any person, if he is looking at the breast of any woman, it is falling under POSH. Any act, even the implication thereof. If I'm talking to someone and that person has directly eyes, in fact I'm not even talking to someone, like in this proposition, that man is simply in the lift and he's just staring, right?
So exactly, ma'am, what was exactly it is? It is actually
In that case, when a certain number of complaints have been received against such a person, the first thing is that yes, a CCTV camera needs to be installed when such complaints are done, and if it is found that yes, it is actually happening, then what does your service rule say? Bosch says such things. कि ठीक है, अगर it is found that yes, this person is guilty, suppose there is actually, you can place a camera in such a way that yes, it is seen that yes, this person is actually doing that. That is why, that was the reason today to discuss definitions with you today.
But in his defense, he was saying that I was just watching that.
Yeah, that of course that is his defense, sir. That is his defense.
I was just watching these things, but I have no particular intention.
That is-
I also never tried.
That is, sir, where the law is very clear that even you looking at me and in a certain way is an offense.
Okay.
I don't have to prove anything. It is the law. If it is found that yes, that man is in the elevator, he is behaving in such a way with many females, and it is a complaint of many females, yes, then the law is clear. I don't have to prove. आपके सामने video है, you can see this. And what does your service rule say? See, every set of service rules of any organization is clear that in case of sexual harassment of ऐसी जो situations होती हैं, what will be the repercussions? And the service rules are clear. Other in case service rules are not clear, it can even lead to, in many cases, it has even led to termination of the services. And what you have proposed, sir, is the very foundation why I had to discuss even definitions with you today. Because we need to understand that what is the smallest of things which can actually be construed as sexual harassment. And it is way bad in POCSO. It is way bad. Now if I am sitting in front of you and I am showing you something and it is not caught on the cameras, and what I am showing you, hypothetically it's a child, but I am showing you a pornographic image, let alone a movie, I am showing you a pornographic image, or I am making the other person, me being a male or a female, that is irrespective, if I am making the child or any female, even uncomfortable with what I am doing, that will attract either POCSO or POSH. And अगर वो workplace में भी नहीं हो रहा है, then तो IPC तो है ही है. So yes, in such a case that will attract POSH, and that is the defense which is taken. So people are not aware, and it is very certain that there are a lot of things which have already happened with a lot of females, and in fact with a lot of men as well, and they don't know कि हाँ ये offense है हमारे law में, because people don't know the law. Even बच्चों के साथ, they don't know. They're like, okay, this is the way. Maybe it is how it is, and that is why such drives like such today.
Achha, the same things will be implemented with the medical practitioners also?
Everywhere, sir. They are bad. They are worse. Because see, in that case, as a medical practitioner, that comes, उसमें ICC नहीं लगेगा, उसमें सीधा LCC लगेगा. Because medical professional में कौन हुआ? आपके boss हुए. Either आपके जो colleagues हैं, interns हैं, that's a different case. But when the doctors are doing such things, when they are either the head of the department or someone, or the dean or the chancellor or anyone the person in authority is doing such things.
Because there was a complaint in the Apollo hospital. When the mature lady who was for the cardiac surgery, she registered her complaint to the HR Director General. He was a retired army person. He told that before surgery, the team of the cardiac surgeons were trying to press me everywhere. So it was quite uncomfortable. So it was very surprisable. And
was the lady the patient herself?
Yes.
Okay.
So it was very, sometimes the cases were very surprisable that even before surgery, it's the right of the surgeon to be checked to get the, blood samples and everything. And before surgery, they use.
These are circumstantial evidence. You're right. In those cases, because see, in a room of surgery, the doctor is not the only one who's present there.
Yes.
There are a number of attendees.
Yes.
So the number of attendees show that yes, like if if it was required to be, the woman to be touched there, for suppose, in case of CPRs, in that cases, like that is one example, common example. CPR, you have to touch the person's chest, irrespective of male or female, you have to give them mouth to mouth, oxygen. Now in their case, अगर उस पे कोई इंसान कहे this is sexual harassment, you are dying. That has to be done. But that obviously depends upon what is the circumstantial evidence. If the people who are in attendance of all of that and said he was trying to ultimately either check the patient or in order to save his or her life. That is where the witnesses are led, that is where the evidence is led, and that is where the inquiry is important.
So sometimes when this sexual harassment, whenever we are searching and going for the maybe some psychological discussion or whatever, like counseling and sometimes this.
Yes.
So sometimes the right answer for the right questions will not be applicable at that time. Like
No, there are no yardsticks.
Because I was there and they are invited me to Dr. Sharma how and what the final result. So I communicate and made the counsel with the lady and found that she was shivering, she was, not accepting anyone. She was expecting in the female team or the female surgeon supposed to go for the medical coverage with her. It was quite impossible because anesthesists and all these are team of the surgeons.
Yes.
So even in the gynec department, I found that anesthetist was always a male. So sometimes these kind of questions are
Yes, that is why we say, sir, अभी मैंने आपसे थोड़ी देर पहले आप सब लोगों से discuss किया malicious prosecution के बारे में. Now, suppose something happened with me and I construe it as sexual harassment. In the same proposition, if I am the female and if I say that no, this man has touched me inappropriately, maybe for the purpose of surgeries and whatnot, he shouldn't have touched me.
Yes.
Okay? And I don't have any malicious intent. That is where my intent needs to be seen. But I say that no, sexual harassment हुआ मेरे साथ. That is where inquiry के time पे when witnesses are evidence is led and witnesses को सुना जाता है. There might be 10 people saying कि मैम अगर इनको छुआ ना जाता उस point of time पे she might have collapsed.
Right.
She might have lost her, maybe supply of oxygen to her brain might have been hindered and everything and whatnot. She might have turned into vegetative state.
Overall, the winner will be the surgical teams of the hospital.
You can't say the winner. No. In that case, this is one of a kind case because in such cases, जो witnesses हैं hospital के वो तो हैं ही हैं. In such case, because ये medical जहाँ पर medical उसमें चीजें आती हैं, there is always a stand taken by an independent body. So maybe a government panel is constituted to understand and assess the situation and then they have to give their reports. So then they are not bothered with what the witnesses say. Then they are bothered with what is done, what is being construed, perception. In that case, it is not a malicious prosecution. You might win the case, but in that case, malicious prosecution नहीं आएगा मेरे पे. In that case, it's a win-win for both the parties. That okay, I took it too personally, but then you are not at fault. So that is the case.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Ma'am,
Yeah.
suppose A is observing that B is getting sexually harassed. Maybe because of fear or shame, she is not coming forward, or maybe she is unaware. So, in that point of time, what is the role and responsibility of the who is the observer?
The role and responsibility of even in such case, चाहे वो POCSO हो, चाहे वो POSH हो, चाहे वो कोई भी law हो, in that case, yes, the person has to be told. Now, suppose something is happening with me, I am not aware that yes, it is a crime, but then you are aware, you are vigilant. You see that person is doing this to you, and you should be taking such steps. They say, why? This is normal. But then you say, no, this is the law of the land, this is a crime. In that case, your responsibility is to educate me in the first place. Or maybe, in that case, you can make the head of the department or the head of the institution aware that such a thing has happened. लेकिन जो POSH की complaint है, वो उस lady के through ही जा सकती है. वो आप नहीं कर सकते. POCSO में करना है. Because you're dealing with children as well. No, in case of children, yeah, maybe all of you have kids. The children who are below the age of 18 years, if you are witness to such a situation, then it is your responsibility. And in case it is means अगर आप नहीं इस situation में आप लेते action लेते पॉक्सो में that is against you. पॉक्सो में आपको उसके लिए भी punish किया जा सकता है that yes this has happened in front of you and you did not apprise anyone. So पॉक्सो is more stringent. पॉश में ऐसा नहीं है. पॉक्सो में कोई भी कर सकता है लेकिन पॉश में the aggrieved woman has to do this. The difference is this.
So also can only to educate.
Educate and of course अगर देखिए educate आप उसको करेंगी लेकिन you can file a complaint with the directly with the head of the institution. लेकिन वो पॉश में नहीं होगा. That will be disciplinary action against someone. That yes this has been observed. That yes such a conduct has been done by you and it is deemed to be inappropriate. What do you have to say? A show cause notice may be given to such a person. That this has been found and yes evidence has been exposed. आपके पास एक in refuting आपके पास evidence है. You caught it on camera and you give it to them. तो disciplinary actions हो सकते हैं. Then again आपके service rules क्या कहते हैं उसमें? But that woman posh में जाना है अगर posh में that same woman has to say and make a complaint that yes मेरे साथ ये हुआ sexual harassment. Any other question? Okay, I think we are done. Any other questions? Please feel free to discuss. कुछ भी आए दिमाग में, not only with respect to posh but anything you may ask. Okay, great. Thank you so much for having me.
Ma'am, for such an insightful session. I think we have all understood word by word what does the Act say. Thank you for that. Now I would request we would play a video which is sent by NALSA. The theme song Ek Muthi Asman.
एहसास न्याय का सबके लिए, आकाश न्याय का सबके लिए, उल्लास न्याय का सबके लिए, विश्वास न्याय का सबके लिए। अपने इस हिंदुस्तान पर हक हमारा भी तो है, इंसाफ के इस आशिया पर हक हमारा भी तो है। एक मुट्ठी आसमां पर हक हमारा भी तो है, एक मुट्ठी आसमां पर हक हमारा भी तो है।
ये ना सोचो दर्द हमारा कहीं सुना न जाएगा, अब न्यायालय खुद चलकर चौपालों तक आएगा।
लाचारों को न्याय मिलेगा, दुखियारों को न्याय मिलेगा, कमजोरों को न्याय मिलेगा, मजलूमों को न्याय मिलेगा। अपने इस हिंदुस्तान पर हक हमारा भी तो है, उम्मीदों के इस गुलसितां पर हक हमारा भी तो है। एक मुट्ठी आसमां पर हक हमारा भी तो है, एक मुट्ठी आसमां पर हक हमारा भी तो है।
गरीब और कमजोरों को मुफ्त एवं सक्षम कानूनी सहायता के लिए प्रतिबद्ध विधिक सेवा प्राधिकरण नालसा, न्याय सबके लिए।
Now I would request Dr. Sonia Rajolia to come forward to present the vote of thanks.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is both an honor and a privilege to extend my heartfelt thanks to all those who contributed to making today's seminar on legal awareness activity on sexual harassment of women at the workplace a meaningful and impactful event. First and foremost, I extend my deepest gratitude to our distinguished resource person, Advocate Supreet Bimra from the District Legal Services Authority, Rohini, for her enlightening and insightful presentation. Your expertise and passion for creating awareness about such a significant issue have inspired us all. Your efforts have undoubtedly empowered us with the knowledge needed to address workplace challenges with confidence and legal understanding. We are also immensely grateful to the National Legal Services Authority (NALSA) and District Legal Services Authority (DLSA) for their sponsorship and unwavering support in making this seminar possible. Their commitment to promoting justice and raising awareness about women's rights is commendable, and we are truly honored to have their collaboration for this important cause. I would like to thank the team of LSC for ensuring the smooth execution of the event. The seamless coordination and hospitality extended to everyone present here are deeply appreciated. To our audience, thank you for your enthusiastic participation and thoughtful engagement. Your questions and interactions reflect a genuine commitment to learning and addressing the pressing issue of sexual harassment at workplaces. Let us carry forward the lessons learned here today and work together to create workplaces that are safe, inclusive, and respectful for all. Thank you once again and have a great day.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I would request Yadav sir to felicitate our guest with a memento as a token of deep sense of gratitude for having spared her valuable time to grace the occasion.